Is Muhammad prophesied in the Bible? It's one of the most common claims you'll hear in discussions between Muslims and Christians. Specifically, they often point to Deuteronomy chapter 18, suggesting it's a hidden prediction of Muhammad that was later ignored or suppressed. But is that really what the text says? Or does this prophecy point somewhere else entirely when we look at it in its historical and biblical context? Today, we're going to examine Deuteronomy 18, line by line, to answer one question honestly. Is Muhammad prophesied here, or was this prophecy fulfilled by someone else? Let's start by opening up the book of Deuteronomy. Chapter 18 records Moses speaking to the nation of Israel just before his death. He tells them that God will raise up a prophet like him to lead the people. Now, the context here is crucial. Moses is speaking to Israel about a prophet who will arise from among them. This isn't vague poetry. It contains very specific criteria that have to be met. To understand this prophecy, we have to let the text define its own terms, not impose a later meaning onto it. A key phrase in this debate is "from among your brothers." Many Muslims argue that brothers refers to the Ishmaelites, the ancestors of the Arabs, which would point to Muhammad. But what does the book of Deuteronomy itself say? Throughout the entire book, the phrase "your brothers" is used consistently to mean one thing: fellow Israelites. It refers to members of the covenant community of Israel, not to distant, foreign nations. So, Moses isn't pointing outside of Israel. He's promising a future prophet from within Israel. Next, we have to ask, what does it mean to be a prophet like Moses? Moses wasn't just a lawgiver. He was absolutely unique in Israel's history. The Bible describes him as someone who spoke with God face to face, performed incredible public miracles, led Israel out of bondage, mediated God's covenant, and spoke God's words with complete authority. Any prophet who is like Moses must share these foundational traits. Does Muhammad match this profile? No. But Jesus does, and in ways that even surpass Moses. The New Testament is crystal clear on this. It explicitly identifies Jesus as the fulfillment of Deuteronomy 18. In the book of Acts, the Apostle Peter applies this prophecy directly to Jesus. Later in Acts, Stephen does the exact same thing during his speech before the Sanhedrin. These were first-century Jews, fluent in the Hebrew scriptures, interpreting their own sacred texts. For them, this prophecy wasn't some open-ended mystery. They saw it as definitively and completely fulfilled in Jesus Christ. So let's just lay out the criteria honestly. The prophet must come from Israel, speak God's words perfectly, be confirmed by signs and wonders, and never contradict previous revelation. Muhammad, as honored as he is in Islam, doesn't meet these criteria. He was not an Israelite. His message contradicts core doctrines of the earlier prophets. The Quran itself states he didn't perform many public miracles to prove his claims. And his revelation fundamentally changes what the Bible teaches about God, sin, and salvation. There's another part of Deuteronomy 18 that is rarely quoted in these discussions. Just a few verses after the prophecy, Moses gives a stark warning. He provides a test to identify a false prophet. He says if someone claims to speak in God's name but delivers a message God did not command, that person is a false prophet. The ultimate test is consistency with God's prior revelation. By this standard, given the contradictions, Muhammad cannot be the prophet Moses foretold. Deuteronomy 18 isn't a hidden reference to Muhammad. It's a clear promise made to the nation of Israel about a future Israelite prophet who was ultimately and perfectly fulfilled in the person of Jesus Christ. The New Testament didn't invent this interpretation. It flows directly from the Hebrew scriptures themselves. When you read the prophecy in its proper context, the conclusion is unavoidable. The prophet like Moses isn't found in Arabia. He is found in the life, words, and work of Jesus. Thank you for joining us. Subscribe to stay rooted in the truth.